Welcome to the Wills and Estate Transmission Podcast, brought to you by Groots, specialist lawyers in wills and estates.
Welcome to the Wills and Estates Transmission Podcast with Groots. And today we're joined by a special guest, John Groot, partner and co-founder of the company. How are you, John?
Very well, Tony. Nice to be with you.
Thank you very much. And so you've been doing some interesting articles, and one of the ones that you've done recently is on artificial intelligence and the issues around the law and artificial intelligence having dreams or hallucinations and not very good use for legal practices at all.
Well, it's been proving to be very troublesome because quite a few solicitors and barristers have thought that it was a quick and easy way to make a submission, for example, to the court, as in to prepare one. And there have been now cases where the product of the AI was inventing cases, inventing quotes, and caused massive problems because the first time it occurred, the judge's associate spent countless hours trying to find the cases and trying to find the quotes, all, of course, to no avail because, as you said, they can hallucinate and give you, they don't know the answer. The systems just generate something. So that's been a problem, so much so, and I suspect this might occur in other jurisdictions, but in New South Wales, the Chief Justice has prescribed as a direction that if you're lodging an affidavit, for example, in the court, you must state that AI has not been used in producing it and generating it, similarly with witness statements and so on. So the courts are taking it seriously. As far as I know, New South Wales is the only jurisdiction taking that level of caution. But the cases that have come out and the implications flowing from them, I think everybody's starting to realise that, yes, there could be some value in an AI interrogation, but be extremely careful with the output.
Yeah, and we were talking before about some examples where, use of AI can be a positive.
Well, yes, I have had a couple of instances where that's been the case. For example, I had a client who said he wanted his son to become the managing director of a company. And I said, well, what does that mean? And he said, well, I don't know. You tell me, what could a managing director be authorised to do? Or what are they authorised to do? So I did an AI search and came up with quite a range of authorities, you might say, and delegations that might be made to a managing director. So that was very helpful. Again, there was one or two that I didn't think were very clear, so naturally I didn't use those, but I thought it was helpful in that context. Another one was I looked at providing, which I have now done, a very detailed guidance document or checklist almost to an executor regarding the funeral arrangements that a will maker might like to set out. And I had the benefit of half a dozen clients over the years doing a great job on directing the kind of arrangements they wanted to apply, whether it was what would be played or sung at the service, whether there was going to be music when they entered the establishment or the church and coming out and all that sort of thing. Some people are very detailed. I've said to somebody, some of my clients I think would rival Queen Elizabeth II detail that they were able to put in place about their funeral arrangements. Well, I was able to look at all of those guidance that had been left by people and extracted the ideas. Then I ran it through AI to see whether there was anything that these clients as a group had overlooked. And there were two that I remember, and one was, are there people you don't wish to be pallbearers? And the other one was the people that you specifically want to ensure don't come to your funeral. In other words, should not be invited. So they were just a couple of little things that I've used it for. I haven't used it extensively. I think it's a long, long way before it will replace the trusted advisor role that lawyers traditionally have with their clients. But it's making inroads, and I don't think it'll stop. It will keep getting better and better.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things with AI versus an actual solicitor is the empathy and sympathy, because we're talking about issues that require both of those things. And I think AI is not going to really get to that level at all.
No, although, look, you'd be surprised. I think they are able to train these programs to bring out some of those qualities. One of the things, for example, that one of our staff did just as a bit of a test, we have some material on our website introducing the firm and so on that we had prepared. And she decided she'd run what we'd written about the firm and said to the whatever you call it, the facility, the AI platform, make this warmer. And I read it, and I have to say it did have elements of warmth to it that I wasn't expecting. So that, you just can't, I suppose, underestimate what they're seeking to achieve and what they are achieving. But I agree, at this point in time, the idea that you would sit in front of a computer and be happy with the advice that was generated is just not, we're a long way from that. And I can't think there'd be too many people who would be satisfied to say, oh, great, I've got the best advice that the world has to offer. I think they would be very courageous to accept that advice.
Yeah, and we're nowhere near Terminator yet, so I don't think we need to worry about that.
That's right.
All right, so we'll roll through for technology generally, and these days people are setting up somebody who helps with their digital assets, and that's a specific thing for them as well, is that there's all sorts of fraud that can happen with emails as well. Can we discuss that a little bit as well?
Yes, well, look, I think one of the things that we're very, very sensitive about, because there have been, sadly, masses of funds that have gone AWOL, is in the area of estate administration, where you have identity theft potentially. A person masquerades as a beneficiary and they're not. But more definitely that you think that you're paying to the account that the beneficiary wants the legacy to be paid to, but to be told or to find out that no, they didn't get it, it went to a different account, and that email was not from me. So the wisdom is always that you telephone the beneficiary. Once you're satisfied that you've got the right person, then you telephone the beneficiary and make sure that the account details are exactly as they intended. Sometimes what I've done too is I believe, I hope I'm right on this, that texts are a little more protected than emails. And so I'll ask people to text me the account details, and then I'll telephone them and check that in fact the details that have come through are correct. Doesn't matter whether it's an email or a text. The key thing is check, because I can tell you of a number of experiences very close to us. We haven't lost any money yet. Well, I shouldn't say yet, but ever.
You won't ever, yes.
Ever. But where you find that they've sent them money to the wrong account and it's gone forever. That's it. It's a tragedy, but it has occurred. So you can't be too careful, really, in that regard. The other thing you mentioned about digital assets, and that just reminded me of cryptocurrency. You've got Bitcoin or whatever it may be. And we had a case very recently where parents who tragically lost their youngish son, I think it was in his early 30s, and he had advised them that he had almost $1 million in cryptocurrency, and he was very pleased that it had hunted on very well for him as an investment. And so they had no doubt that he was telling them the truth. When he died unexpectedly, very unexpectedly, there was no trace of where it was, and yet they know there was $1 million he had, and every effort to locate any details about it were just not possible. Totally, just absolute dead ends in every avenue that they explored.
Yeah, and it's unlike a bank where you give money to a bank, and there are ways of getting the bank to open itself, shall we say. But with crypto, it's not possible. But look, I guess one of the, if we want to call it a positive of COVID, was electronic filing of documents and remote witnessing. So do you want to step through that?
Well, yes, we can still remotely witness affidavits and statutory declarations. We were, for a brief period of time, able to remotely witness wills, but once COVID was over, that facility was removed, and I think wisely so, because it's a pretty serious matter, and you never know who's hiding off camera or whatever may be going on. So that's gone. But no, the facility to witness witness an affidavit remotely can be helpful, and especially people living remotely, it's one way to bring them a little closer to an ease of doing business.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you require any further information, please go to our website www.degroots.com.au and book a consultation. The contents of this podcast do not constitute legal advice and are of a general nature only. Listeners should make their own inquiries about their specific circumstances and seek legal advice.